Yes, Kevin Little versus Madonna. Welcome to Raconteurs Preview. My name's Jason Holmes, and we are going to be previewing Raconteurs News this week, what's going to be going on. Thank you very much for joining us. If you joined us, if you've not joined us, then fuck off. I couldn't really give a fuck. But if you're listening to this later on, this is what's going to be going on this week. I am joined, as usual, by my bestest radio friend and closest confidant as well, Andy Young. Andy, how you doing, mate?
Hi, mate. I'm all right. How's you?
Excellent. Really are excellent. Let me just turn you up just a little bit, and I'll turn myself up as well. I think we're just getting a little bit on the low end there. Have you had a good weekend, mate? All right.
It's been sort of average. A lot of that white stuff falling out the sky. The wind's blowing from the east. I think it's going to blow a lot of Russian paratroopers over England sometime later tomorrow afternoon or something. So, yeah, a bit of a concern. But on the bright side, it's the start of the MotoGP season. So I watched 3 excellent races from Doha in Qatar this afternoon.
Excellent. I've been to Doha, actually. Well, it were a shithole in the 90s when I went there, but it's probably a lot better now, especially since they've got World Cup in 2022. So there's probably lots of new infrastructure and lots of people being killed on building sites because of the low regulations that are out there. But yeah, good that you've had something to enjoy. I've had quite a sporting weekend. Mm-hmm. Now I think we know what's coming, don't we? I think you know what's coming, don't you?
I think Super Leeds knows what's coming.
Yeah.
A bit of gloating, is it?
No, well, it's not actually gloating, because I know that if you start gloating, things then tend to generally come round and bite you on the arse. So if I start gloating now, what will happen is that Wednesday and Leeds will be playing in a game that's got ultimately more significance than the game that went on yesterday, which was really just 2 mid-table teams playing a shitty game. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to gloat. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take pride in the result. Well done, Atin New for scoring a couple of goals. Yes, and doing the double over Leeds in a season, that means beating them home and away. That also sort of adds to it. But I'm not going to be sitting here gloating about it, because generally that tends to come and bite you on the arse, which is why I didn't gloat when we beat Sheffield United a few years ago to promotion, and then when they actually end up getting promoted, they come and give us a good kick in at our place. So I'm not going to gloat, but it was a great weekend. It was a good win, and I do apologise, Super Leeds, but I think you'll agree that we needed the points more than you did. So I think we'll just draw a line under that. And just get on with what we're previewing this weekend. Webby's with us as well. How you doing, Webby?
I'm good, lads. I'm very good. Apart from being the first day back in work today. That was a bit of a drag, but hey-ho.
Oh, dear me. Oh, Sunday at work,
I've had a decent sporting weekend. My teams seem to win something like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0. 5-0.
Oh, you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you?
I certainly am.
Awesome. Well, yeah, certainly. I watched that on Match of the Day last night, actually. Liverpool look awesome, and I think that if there's anybody that's going to beat Man City, and I don't mean to the league title, because Man City is so fucking far ahead, but I'm talking about in Champions League. I think that the draw, Liverpool and Man City, is a real mouth-watering draw that's popped itself up there. And I've always been a supporter of the Justice campaign, so I've always sort of been a Liverpool supporter by proxy. You know, I mean, I'm not. I'm obviously not a Liverpool supporter if they're playing Wednesday, but you know, I've always been a supporter of Liverpool as well. So I'd be really pleased to see them, you know, do one over on City, and I'd love to see him win Champions League again.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's a lot of lads who I work with, they're rumming and ahhing because a lot of United fans, and they hate City, but they hate Liverpool, and it's a bit of a conundrum for them now. They don't know which colour they're going to be supporting.
Yeah, that's the trouble in it. I mean, it must be a terrible
nice.
conundrum for a Man United fan because it's either Man City or Liverpool, and I suppose they hate them. I suppose it's a bit like Wednesday fans when it's Sheffield United against Barnsley, because they're sort of on the same sort of level, Sheffield United and Barnsley, and or Rotherham. Sheffield United and Rotherham, they're on the same sort of level. In fact, we call I don't know if many people know about Wednesday United, but we call each other the Pigs, and
Right.
we call United the Pigs, obviously the Pigs, but we also call Rotherham the Mini Pigs because there seems to be such a love in between these little shitty fucking clubs around Yorkshire. Anyway, I think we've got that covered, don't you?
I think it's nice all that, we're in the midst of all this real and some of it harsh stuff that we do discuss. I think it's nice that people do still have that outlet. They do like a bit of football and stuff like that. Whereas 10 years ago, it dominated my life to the point that if Liverpool lost, it ruined my entire week. Nobody would be able to speak to me. But now that I've realised it is just a game, it's a game that I love, and it's nice to have the downtime to watch it because I can switch off from everything for 90 minutes. It was always the same when I played as well. It didn't matter how many problems I had once I crossed that white line. For 90 minutes, they were gone. And it's nice to have that little bit because there's not a lot of perks left.
No, you're right. And I used to be obsessed like you. It would probably rule my life, football at a certain time. I mean, I even fucking my first heart attack was while I was playing football. So I did that when I fucking fell over on pitch, and I was only 27, and once it's been took away from you. I mean, I'm at a point now I can't fucking even walk. My mind bleeding run or out. But to be able to go back to them days and to be able to just fucking run about all over the pitch and all day. And when I was a kid, we used to in summertime we used to go and play football in the morning, and then it'd be 8 o'clock at night before we'd even bleeding stop. We were that
Easy.
fit, and it just seems to be something
Yeah,
that we've
easy.
lost, doesn't it?
Yeah, the kids don't go out and do stuff like that anymore. I mean, I used to remember the 6-week holidays, as you just said. It was like dinner time, first football kick-off, then it was like 5 o'clock tea time home, back out for 6 till it went dark every day for football. It was just, but kids now go around to other people's houses and play football on computers. I've nothing against that because I can't run around as much as I used to. I score some blinders on FIFA. Just Jurgen Klopp doesn't pick me enough. I score goals every time he picks me.
Well, you see, the thing with me is, I used to have a games console a few years ago. In fact, I think it was when I was recovering from my first stroke on my leg. I had a games console. I think it was an Xbox 360 or something or other, and I had a football game on it. But then I sort of, I thought to myself, if I'm going to waste my time, this is like, because it's a waste of time. You're just playing on a game, and it don't really ultimately mean fuck all. It means nothing. And I thought to myself, if I'm wasting my time, I really ought to be wasting my time actually doing fuck all, rather than wasting my time and working through my time. So I ended up getting rid of that, and I can't really see point at it. But I know there are a lot of people that do escape from things with it, with games consoles and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the occasional game of FIFA, but it's the only game that I actually own for Xbox. People have asked me, why have you not bought the Xbox One Live? I went, because I've got one game, which is FIFA. And I've got FIFAs from FIFA, 10, right up till... I've not even bought the latest one because there's not much difference. And apart from the name changes, there's not much difference in gameplay for me. Again, it might be different on an Xbox One or something like that, but the amount of times I play it, I'm like you, Jason. I can't justify going out and buying something like that. I didn't buy the console; it was bought for me. The games were bought for me, but it's only ever FIFA. I don't play anything but football, so again, I don't even go on it that much because I found something else better to do, which is turn the telly off and do a lot of research and actually find out where I actually exist in this reality, and it's not where I thought it was.
Yeah, well, it's quite a big thing. Well, each to their own. I just think that those games that they sort of add to your stress and everything. But I mean, we can talk about. Let's talk about what's been going on this week. Fucking hell! Since we were on air on Tuesday, we've had Stephen Hawkins died. I know Super Leeds has probably put lots of stuff in the chat room about that. What do you think about that? I mean, what do you think they did? Retired his character or what? Because he did live. He was 76 years old, and he had a disease where people don't live past 25.
I know people who had that disease and died before they were 30.
Yeah.
So there is some. I mean, the if you look at photographs and stuff like that, you can look at them all and you can say, "Well, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look. It just doesn't look right." But again, you start talking about all these people, and it seems like everything. Everyone you point at, you can start saying, "Oh, well, that might be a clone. That might be a double. That might not be it." You get lost in all that stuff, and that's why I feel that all this stuff, like him being promoted now. I know the fella's died, but it's what am I missing? What's going on while I'm looking at that? You've got all this shit that's going on in the world, yet the mainstream media will want to talk about Stephen Hawking's death. It's something that's it's a tragedy for his family and everything. But I don't remember my father being on mainstream news, and he was killed in a road accident. He was an hard-working fella, never paid all his bills, paid all his taxes. Well, I don't get that kind of riposte. But if he was in a position where a news item like that can hide something else, then it's, especially these days, Jason, you've got to start asking the questions, haven't you? What is this? What's going on behind Stephen Hawking? I mean, I don't know if you saw this last week, but the South African health minister, the Minister for Health, came to a conclusion, Jason, on what the biggest cause of death was in South Africa. Have you read it?
Yeah, dying is the leading cause of death.
It's the leading cause of death. And I went, for fuck's sake, I've been pondering on that one for 46 years. Fuck it, I know now. If I stop breathing and I die, that will be death. I thought, this man is a health minister. Then I look back to Andy Burnham when he was the shadow health secretary. Is this man as clever as this other man? Fuck knows. But I'll tell you what, why didn't they put, if Stephen Hawking isn't that Stephen Hawking, why didn't they put him in that fucking car with Elon Musk's and send him up there, let him have a fly about for a bit?
Yeah, well, what do you think, Andy? Because we've had in the chat room, and this is a great point as well. Shitty Leeds, hi Shitty Leeds. Hope you're not too disappointed and too hurt by our tremendous victory in your backyard on Saturday. Yesterday, in fact, Ati Nuhiu, who can't score at all, it was probably the biggest. Anyway, Shit Leeds has put in the chat room, didn't he die on Einstein's birthday, which is it's taking the piss, which is true, because it was Einstein's birthday, and it was also what they call Pi Day as well, wasn't it? It was 413 yeah, he died on Pi Day 314, 314, that's it. It's the American, 314. So he died on the 14th of March. So that's it's Pi Day. What do you make of it, Andy? What do you make of the old Stephen Hawking stuff?
I watched with great interest the show that Richard Deal and Andrew Johnson, I believe, was in with him on that show, did on Stephen Hawking's. And it does look awfully like he was switched at least once, possibly several more times over the period of the time that he was in the public eye. But I mean, this Pi Day thing, I've never heard of it.
They do like their emblems, don't they? Though they do like the symbology.
Well, yeah. I've been looking around at quite a bit of stuff on symbology this weekend, in particular the letter X. You know, X for mystery.
Yeah.
The possibilities of what that could be, and you know, like, is X a secret code? We can hear you talking on the phone, Jason. He was the X. Yeah, I mean, is it a code, a secret code? Right. If something's got X attached to it, this is serious information. Might be worth taking a look at. I don't know. Then it was suggested that after the Nazis, when it looked like they were losing the war, they didn't just lose the war; they just kind of disappeared into various different countries around the world. A lot of the leading Nazis and infiltrated governments all over the world. So, you know, you got a big enclave down there, supposedly in Argentina. Historically, I don't know how many went over to the USA, but I believe that 70,000 senior Nazis were pardoned. 70, with 3 zeros after it. That's not just one or two, is it?
No.
And you've got to wonder what bargaining power they had to get those pardons.
I think it's going to come down to technology and the research that they were doing. I mean, the mind control stuff, that's all been evidenced so well that it is from the Nazis' research, all that kind of stuff. The CIA then took that on. I know they allegedly stopped all that caper, but these people don't stop doing things that works for them. They just change the slant on it slightly. There's nothing new under the sun, really. You know, you've got Werner von Braun, who's putting the V2 rocket from Germany onto London, and now he's jumped from, you know, Europe to London to America to the moon. That's what within the space of 20 years. And, you know, the fact that there was a Cold War on, they did want to beat Russia to that. Did they fake that first one at the very least? At the very least, did they fake the first one? I think there's a lot of holes that need questions asking. As we do, you know, we go through all this stuff, don't we, on Raconteurs News? We talk about all these subjects. I've been on other radio shows where you cannot talk about certain things. Things that you can't talk about fuck me off. They fuck me off royally, because if it's, especially when it's illegal to talk about it, there's something being hidden from me. That's what I would say. When you look about these establishments, and we'll put that in quotes because I don't think any of us can agree on actually use the instigator, because there's that many of these. Obviously, you can't not look at the Rothschilds, because the Rothschilds are that banking dynasty that has taken over for the last 300 to 400 years. You know, so they've got all that history. Why all of a sudden are they going to want to do something for us? Why do people think that voting for a political party that is under the control of the same people who control all the other political parties, particularly any party big enough to get into Parliament, we know all that's controlled, yet people still think, hey, I'll vote for Jeremy Corbyn. He's a good guy. He wears a tweed jacket and sits on the floor in a train carriage so somebody else can sit down. He's a good man.
Yeah, but the thing is, Webby, is that anybody let's just say that somebody that's half awake will see the way that the BBC are treating Jeremy Corbyn I don't know if you saw this weekend, but they put
Yes,
they actually photoshopped on his head like a Russian hat and put him on this
it did. Yeah,
on this thing that was obviously a Soviet type image that was in the background of him. So it made him look like so. But can't you see that anybody that's sort of partially awake? And I listen, I'm not backing Jeremy Corbyn at all. I'd much prefer Jeremy Corbyn to be Prime Minister than Theresa May at the moment, simply because I'd just like to see what he's going to do. But Jeremy Corbyn has been presented as this beacon and this hope for the people that don't want the system that we've got at the moment, and he's been presented as that. It'd be interesting to see what he does. But it is interesting also to see the propaganda that's being placed against him, such as that BBC report.
yeah. Oh, they definitely the BBC and that have definitely done their job because they're always in support of who is actually in number 10. They're always going to go with whoever it is. If Corbyn, you'll see a massive change in him. If Corbyn does get in, you'd see the BBC take a different slant. They wouldn't be able to carry on the stance against him. It would totally change. But I don't think that the planning on and Corbyn getting in. For me, it seems like the pushing this agenda and it's speeding up. This Brexit bollocks, it's all for all us idiots to talk about and argue about it. It's not happening. The armed forces are already being integrated. There is no Brexit. This isn't a hard Brexit or soft Brexit. It's bullshit. You're either going to all go in and it's going to be taken over, or you're all coming out. That's it. Because these trade deals, where you've got people ringing in the likes of Ian Collins' show on LBC. And honestly, Jason, I don't know where you get these fucking callers from. I might as well fucking go out and talk to a housebreak, because that is the housebreak can tell me everything what these people are telling me. It's all the same old bollocks rhetoric I've heard all my life. They might as well ring up and say, well, I vote for Labour. Why? Because my dad did. Yeah. They might as well do that because they've no basis on it whatsoever other than the rhetoric that they're getting from mainstream. There's none of these callers that are critical thinkers. I don't think the likes of me, you, or Andy, if we rang Ian Collins' show and started to talk real stuff, we wouldn't get on there.
Well, he talks out his arse, doesn't he, Ian Collins? I remember Ian Collins from his Talk Sport days, and he used to have a late night show on Talk Sport, and I do remember I was listening to his show one time, and
called The Creatures of the Night, wasn't it? Ian Collins and the Creatures of the Night.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And it was a sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of situation, but it was around the time there'd been some sort... I can't remember. There'd been some sort of terrorist-related incident that had happened around Westminster. And he got a caller on. And this caller came on and said, I live in this area and we're all terrified. And he were talking about how everyone were terrified in the area and all this sort of thing. And he kept calling it Westminster, which it isn't. It's Westminster. And so that made me think, well, hang on a minute. This guy's... he says he's lived in this area all his life and he's calling it by the wrong name, right? Yeah. Which wouldn't do. And... you know, what is this? I mean, it was just crap. But Ian Collins let him go on and 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 go on about this fucking... how they were all shitting the sens in Westminster. When it's Westminster. We know it's West... I'm from fucking Sheffield. I'm from up north. I know it's Westminster, not Westminster. You know...
Do you not live in Sheffield?
Yeah, I live in Shitfield, yeah. Yeah, so
honestly, that is a fucking... that is one of my bugbears. That radio shows that want you on there and want you to debate and then say, yeah, but you can't talk about this. Me and Andy have talked about somebody mutual who wouldn't talk about certain things. And this show that I was on last week, I don't think I'll ever go back on it. I'll speak to the fella who runs it because he's a decent fellow. He's got a voice for radio as well. The show itself is fine, and when he's on it and he's, shall we say, mediating, everything can be fine. You can talk about stuff, but for the extra bit, he had somebody else do it, and then it was just, oh no, we've heard enough about this bullshit now. That's bullshit. Everybody knows that happened. Well, no, not everybody does. So that's why it's refreshing with Raconteurs News. There's no holds barred. You want to talk about something, talk about it. Don't come on and not know anything about it.
I see we just got Super Leeds has posted in the chat room, what about Porton Down? And I think that kind of links in with that, really, because, you know, we're just talking about these ridiculous stories that we're getting in the news. You know, the more you look at the Porton Down, I mean, it's right next to where this alleged Russian spy was allegedly poisoned by the Russians. I mean, what a load of bullshit. It's
just so happens.
It's just Russophobia being created by the intelligence service and the media, and it's blatantly in your face. But what we need to be thinking is not ripping this to minute details, is to thinking, what are they trying to distract you from?
From 5 benefits cuts this week. 5 benefits cuts. Cut school dinners for kids, but not in Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland, they gave £1 billion. We're given £1 billion to prop up this government. So we've got 5 different benefit cuts.
Did you notice that the Home Secretary for Northern Ireland voted for benefit cuts in the UK, but not Northern Ireland?
You see, this is what we're allowing these people. This is what's happening. Yeah. We've allowed these people to take over, right? We need to take things back from them because they're fucking us over. All they're doing, they're getting like fucking 22% fucking pay rises or whatever, while they're getting a fucking 0.5% pay rise for nurses, which in reality is a fucking 3% cut over the last 10 years.
Not only that, they want to take a day's holiday off them for all that.
Yes, of course, yeah, the cunts, the cunts. But we're allowing this to happen, though, Paul. We're allowing it to happen. We're allowing them to talk to us and say, right, this is what they're doing, right? You turn on Sky News, right? I turned on Sky News other morning. I got up early one morning. I'd woke up, I needed a piss or whatever, and I fucking went downstairs and I put fucking telly on. And do you know what they might as well have been saying? They might as well have been saying, right, you're such a thick cunt that what I'm going to tell you now, you're going to fucking believe, because you're so fucking thick. And that's what they're fucking doing to us all the fucking time. You're so thick, you're going to believe that it's Russia that did this. Right?
Well, they're not too far wrong, are they? They're not too far wrong.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know how many people are buying it. I've not really seen many people buying it. I've seen a lot of fucking people saying it's a pile of shit, but I don't see many people buying it.
Yeah, that's what I was going at with the Ian Collins stuff. He was going on about he couldn't believe why. He's getting these callers on to explain why are people believing a different premier from a different country compared to our own. And I'm like, I'm trying to eat a cheese pasta salad, and I've got the fork stuck in the side of my face going, has he really just asked a stupid question like that? Every fucking prime minister has told us bollocks for decades. They've told lies about everything to help corporations because that's all they're there for. He's a gatekeeper for corporations. That's it. There's nothing to do with the people. And it's all these individual MPs. I always go on about Andy Burnham. Now, people locally, to me, a lot of people will say, oh, he did great things for the town of Lee. He was a wonderful MP. Why are people still dying? Why are people still homeless when he's the health secretary? Why is he not looking at this? Why am I kept away from him when I've got genuine concerns in .gov.uk stuff? What he should be listening to me about. He does one because it's not good for his career. It's not good for his career to do all this. John Wedger, Andy Burnham had been told about John Wedger's campaign. He was walking all the way up to Manchester. Andy Burnham's office never fucking answered him. And then he said, well, we didn't know he was coming. Lou Collins and everybody who was in that campaign had contacted that office, and the cunt couldn't even be bothered turning up. And I said to Lou, I said, if you'd have planted a tree and put in memory of John's walk and put some ham sandwiches on, you might have had a chance. Because if you're planting a tree and there's ham sandwiches on, he turns up with a photographer and a pair of scissors to cut a ribbon. That's all that cunt's ever done, because he's a Blurite. Blur handpicked him. That's why I've always known he's a piece of shit. But people look at his smile and think that he's good for the people, and he's not. He's got fuck all to do with the people.
He's a good actor, though, isn't he?
Well, I don't think he is.
Well, he's a good actor. He is a good actor. I think he's a good actor.
I think he's a good politician.
Well, yeah, as far as politicians go, he's a wanker. But look, he's a wanker. But I think he's a good actor. I think he did a really good job holding at Anfield. Remember at Anfield when he did that speech on the pitch?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yep. That's why I think he's a good actor.
Yeah. Do you know what though?
That appeased people. That did.
Yeah, but I could genuinely believe that he would have feelings over something like that. I think he would have concerns, but it's when you turning to him over stuff that he would be campaigning on, like council tax going up. Well, let's talk about council tax, Andy, and what properties are actually liable for this. Could we talk about that? Where have you gone? Andy, where have you gone? That's the point. Anything like that, he's good at. That's why I mean he's a good politician. Politicians don't answer questions, and they always answer with the question. This is how politicians talk, and this is when you can see straight through them. This is why when they stand up, my right honourable friend, fuck off. You can't stand up and say, hey, you're a cunt, you're a lying, thieving bastard. You can't do that in Parliament because they have parliamentary privilege, which is meaning they can lie legally. So you can't stand up and call anybody out as a liar. And that is part of the circle or whatever it is you enter when you want to become an MP. This is why the worst thing that we ever did with our MPs was allow them to go and fucking live down there. They should have been. They should have gone where they live. They should have gone from where they live, travelled down, listened to what they had to say, come back and tell the people in their fucking town what's going on, and then the people say, "Well, we're not happy with this. You go back and fucking tell them this." That's how it's meant to work. The basics of it. Not all these 2-3 fucking holiday homes and claiming expenses for this, that, and the other. This is why we're getting the wrong people in as Parliament, as members of Parliament. They're all the only people that are going to climb to the top are the psychopaths, sociopaths who are willing to stand and shit and piss on every fucker to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that, Paul. So, listen, do you want to say something, Andy?
I was just gonna say this is Builders and Raconteurs preview. Not really a raconteur's rant, but you know, we're only 40 minutes in. We might start talking about what we're going to do. But before we do that, can I just mention a little something that cropped up this week? There was somebody posted something in the chat room under the name of Boris, and it was questions being asked about OneCoin, and there was some rather unpleasant things said, which I can't remember exactly, so I won't try and paraphrase it. But they posted a link to show that OneCoin was worth zero, and perhaps they should have done a bit more research, because that was to a different coin which has some similarities but is not the same. The people who put into OneCoin that we talked about on our show are waiting for the coin to go live in, I believe it's October of this year. Mm-hmm. So that was a bit misleading. we did what we did in good faith, and we're hoping that everybody's going to get a good outcome who put in there. But as we all know, that sort of thing's always got its risks with it.
Absolutely,
anyway,
I completely agree with you. Listen, we give advice, right, and we talk about our own experiences. We don't, we don't demand that everybody goes and puts the money into any different thing, simply because.
No, we don't. Jason, we don't even give advice. We investigate the possibility. We look at what's there and talk about it. We don't say, you should do this.
Yeah, exactly.
We said, oh, yeah, I might have a go at that myself. Others, I know some other people have chose to do it. I haven't had a direct complaint from anybody yet. There's one or two people getting a bit twitchy, but, there's all kinds of stories going around and, nothing really worth addressing. It's a waiting game.
Well, we'll just leave it there then, and we'll just park that bus there. I've put some money in. I'm fairly happy with the way that things are going and the amount of money that I've put into it, and it's something that I probably would have spent on sweets anyway, so it's not a huge amount of money, so I'm okay with it. Well, why don't we get on to what we're going to be talking about this week? You've got the first guest lined up for us for Monday, haven't you, Paul? Why not give us an introduction to is it Lindsay? Give us an introduction to her and what she does.
Well, it's Lindsay Davis, who's she used to work for a hire firm as sales, industrial machinery and stuff like that. But on the side, she's always been a writer. She's always been doing a lot of writing since I've known her best part of 30 years. But in the past year or so, everything seems to have, as we were talking about Raconteurs News stepping up, everything seems to have stepped up for Linz as well, because she's not only a published author now, but she's got a second book that she's working on now, but she's just performed a full first solo set for 45 minutes, which, is anybody who can verify who's got up on a stage for anything, let alone trying to make people laugh. It takes a lot of confidence, and Lindsay's brimming with confidence. I think you'll like her a lot, Jason. She's Rita Monroe. She'll swear with the best of us, mate. And she says, "Is there anything that I can't talk about?" I said, "No, you can talk about anything." She said, "Well, I was being interviewed by the BBC," and she said the producer held up a notice saying because they were just filming they were filming one interview, and he held a notice up, said, "Thanks for coming, Linz." Then he turned it over and it said, "Don't say cunt." And I said, "Do you know what?" I said, "I don't think you'll be the first one to say cunt on Monday night somehow." But so the stand-up stuff has completely taken off. But as a side project, what slipped into this was the stand-up for the homeless project. So she's got involved with local people who were trying to help homeless people, because, as I've said before, when I was growing up, the homeless people, I mean, you wouldn't even class them as homeless because they had somewhere to live. They were just, tramps. You knew the tramp. You knew him by name. Now there's that many. She saw an opportunity to get her friends on the comedy circuit together and start doing a few gigs. And these people put their own time in and everything to raise money. And it's the decent thing about this. There's a charity now being set up, but it's not a charity as in like a registered charity where you're going to have a CEO and all this bollocks. These are people who actually just volunteer the spare time. This is a charity just completely by volunteers. And I wanted, because of the stuff that I work with I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, Bills of Exchange, Jason. I don't know if you recall me mentioning that.
I think you might have once or twice. I can't quite remember.
Well, Lindsay's was interested in listening to it. She doesn't quite understand it because when you're talking about that there is no money, you can see the glazed look in Lindsay's face because it happens in many people's faces when you try and tell them things like that. And I was saying, well, there's a resemblance between the amount of people who are homeless and this Bills of Exchange Act. There's something in the middle there that people cannot afford to pay when you can't pay for it. And I said, I wanted to get that homeless group and possibly information what I've got, because they've just secured a premises as well. And because it needs a lot doing to it, they've got it cheap. Again, volunteers are coming along to help out. And we've seen how this stuff works, haven't we, Jason? The lad from Doncaster, he's an ex-addict and everything, and he's helping people. Just one man has helped people into accommodation within the past 3 weeks. People were getting onto him saying, hey, I've got a TV for him, I've got some clothes and all this for him. That was from just doing Facebook Live. If Lindsay's now on stage and she's touring all over the country, Lindsay's now on that platform where she can actually put her mark on this. And I've just had this conversation with her. She said, is it 7 o'clock tomorrow? I said, yeah. She went, I don't finish work till 7 at the homeless project. I said, why didn't you tell me that last night? She said, I forgot. I said, they don't call you last minute Lindsay for fuck all, do they? She said, well, I can come out 10 minutes earlier. No, she's only round the corner, so she'll be fine for tomorrow night. We might have to chat shit for a couple of minutes, but I don't think
I don't know how we're going to do that.
I know. I think we'll struggle through with it, mate. But yeah, I asked her to send me a bio, and she said, oh, for fuck's sake, Webby, you know me. She said, I'm a working mum. She said, I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm a writer, author, and I drink gin. That's it. That was her bio. That's basically what she is, and she is what you get with Lindsay is exactly what you see. There's no airs and graces with her. She'll call a cunt, and she'll tell you if you are one. But she's a very funny girl. I'm looking forward to it. I think she'll make a few people laugh tomorrow. She's got a very good take on life.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. On Tuesday, I'm trying to get a pedo hunter on again, but again, I'm fucking struggling. They're like, right? They become really fucking defensive and think that you're gonna fucking fuck them up. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna get one on for Tuesday. We'll have something on for Tuesday, and if not, then it'll just be us chatting shit as usual. So. So we got Monday tomorrow night. What's the name again? Gives a clue what a name is again for tomorrow night, and where we can find her work and what she's been doing.
Lindsay, her name's Lindsay Davis. She's on Facebook. She puts a lot of her new material out on there. She does a few videos as well. She does what do they call them? Like a sketch. She does comedy sketches and she uploads them as well. She's going to be stepping up them. She was telling me some material that she's got yesterday, and I thought, Christ, you wouldn't get this material out on the BBC. But yeah, she does a lot of her stuff on Facebook. The Stand Up for the Homeless project, that'll be a website all on its own. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you the website's complete tomorrow when she comes.
Sound brilliant. Do you know, I'm fucking deciding whether I should tell you about my experience at Frankie and Benny's yesterday. Should I or shouldn't I? I don't know. What do you reckon? Come on, Andy, you tell. Fucking hell, fire. It was fucking weird. It's the first time it's happened to me, really. What do you think?
Not like you to hold back, is it, Jason?
Yeah, all right. Well, we went to yesterday. Me and my wife were out, and we decided to go into Frankie and Benny's for something to eat. And we ordered our food and we ordered our drinks, and then our drinks came, and our drinks were being delivered by what can only be described as a man dressed as a woman.
It wasn't a special birthday surprise from Neil Sanders, was it?
No. it honestly, I've never
just
felt
say it,
so
Jason. I know
uncomfortable.
you want to say it. Just say it.
I've never felt so uncomfortable in my life. You know, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking I really, what I want to do is I want to say to this fucking bloke that's dressed in, because you could tell it were a bloke. He had a bloke's gait on his football legs type thing, and he got this fucking wig on that were in a ponytail, and he got these fucking glasses on. And
Andy, do you think it's worse, Jason trying to be diplomatic while he's explaining this? Or should he just come out with it?
it just felt fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, someone came along and said, "Is everything all right?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." Yada yada, and you know how they do. And I was like, I was in this position where I thought, right, if I want to complain, what would I do? Would I say he brought me the wrong fucking beer, or you know, it just like all these things go through your mind, and it's just like how you fucking I work it out. And I thought to myself as well, right, what happened in the interview process, right? In the interview process before this right, he probably don't want me to call him he, but he is a he. But I refuse to be involved in his fucking delusion. I refuse to be involved in his delusion. I refuse to justify it, so I'm not going to call it she as well. I'm going to call it, right? So, what happens when, in the interview process...
Is that the preferred pronoun?
Well, seriously, what happens in the interview process when... how did he apply? Did he put his real name down, his given name, you know, John fucking Smith or whatever, or did he fucking put down, you know, I'm fucking Fifi Trixabel or whatever fucking shit. You know, whatever. What did he do in the and when you were in the interview, did he do the old fucking leg cross? You know, like you get off. You know, on Basic Instinct, when she fucking crosses her legs. Did he do the old leg cross thing and his fucking knackers were all lagging out? It just... Why? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? You know, if I were interviewing that person for a job I'd go... Well, just a second. How the fuck are you going to be able to fucking hold a job down? We are... You know, what when you can't even fucking keep a sex, you can't even keep your own gender, right? You've lost your own fucking gender. How are you going to fucking do a job? You've lost your own fucking gender. You've lost your identity. You don't know who the fuck you are. How the fuck am I supposed to fucking employ you when I don't? You don't even know what you are. Never mind what you're supposed to be fucking doing. It just...
I can see you in a tribunal if you was an employer.
just here's a possible scenario, Jason, that you may not have considered. Perhaps he just forgot to take his makeup off before he came to work, and you know what it's like with political correctness. Nobody dares say jack shit to him.
Is it not possible, Jason, that it was just not really a good looking woman?
No, it wasn't. Listen, it wasn't. It was a fucking bloke, all right? It had a skirt on and everything. It had these, you know, them tights? It had black tights on, women's fucking shoes, right? But the feet were like 10-2 rather than, you know, 10 to fucking 1 rather than fucking 10 to 2, sorry, rather than fucking straight in front. The fucking legs didn't even look like it were trying to be feminine. Didn't even look like, just walked up. I tell you what it were like. It were like fucking that cunt off fucking. It were like I were being served by fucking Leslie off Benidorm. That's what it was fucking like. It was like fucking. It weren't even really an attempt. It wasn't even it wasn't an attempt to try and. This is what gets me, right. This is what does me head in about it. Is that if you're going to attempt it, and you're going to attempt to look like a woman, try to look like a woman. Have women's. Have characteristics that are feminine, women's, and we all know what we mean. Nobody's fucking allowed to say it anymore, but we know that women have different characteristics to men. So try and have a different. But no, these don't. They stick a fucking wig on, they put a skirt on, and they fucking walk about still exactly the same way that fucking men do, and they act like men and fucking talk like fucking men, but they expect you to fucking call them a woman. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It was just fucking so stupid. I just thought... It came and brought us as drinks. Put them on fucking table, give them us. And thank you very much. And then it went away. And then I looked at my wife.
You and your missus never spoke about it again then?
No, I looked at my wife, right? And she looked at me, and we just sort of like had that look together where,
nodding knowingly at each
that
other.
would have well, yeah, we didn't need to nod. We just just needed to look at each other.
Yeah.
We looked at each other, and we both knew what other one were thinking, right? So you both know, and the thing is right, we didn't have any interaction with that particular. I don't know whether to say waiter or waitress. I'll just say wait thing. So we didn't have anything else to do with that wait thing.
Staff member.
Yeah. After that, but you always knew that they were there, and they were walking past you, and you're thinking, "Oh my God!"
Hey, I've just thought, Andy, can we use the word member in that sentence?
Yeah, obviously, member was quite appropriate. That was, but just the chat room's actually nearly as funny as Jason's rant. What John Hull said in there, women's characteristics don't pay for fuck all. I mean, we're already in. Anybody who's going to hate us is going to hate us for what you just said. So I might as well read that out. I must say, not all women are like that.
No, I'm not talking about all women. I'm just saying that.
He's not talking about women, apparently.
Well, we're not, are we? We're talking about him trying to pretend to be a fucking woman.
That was a comment from the chat room from John. I just find it quite amusing.
Yeah, it's
in the days when you were allowed to actually joke about something.
Well. Listen, it for me. It was a new situation that I found myself in, because I've never found myself in that situation before, where I'm being waited upon by a thing that doesn't know what the fuck it is. It's got a penis, right, but it's wearing women's clothes, a fucking wig, and fucking silly makeup, and it's for me that's it's a fucking mental illness. It's something that should be dealt with mentally.
Next time you go to Benidorm, I'll give you a few addresses.
Listen, I don't need any fucking addresses. If I go to Benidorm and there's any weirdos, they'll find me. Don't worry about that. Oh, fucking hellfire! Oh well, we're doing all right. We've done an hour, haven't we?
Oh Jesus, yeah.
More or less, yeah.
We've done an hour. So this week we've got some good stuff going on. We've got on Monday we've got Lindsay, who Webby were telling us about. If you've not heard about her, then just listen back onto the podcast or the YouTube. Just rewind a little bit, and then you'll be able to hear what she's all about. I think you know what we're all about here at Raconteurs News. We're all about talking out our arses and talking shit and trying to offend as many people as fucking possible without, I just love offending people. If you know why? Because I can't be offended. And if I can't be offended, then I don't believe anybody else can. So that means I can talk about any fucking shit that I want. What do you think, Webby?
To actually have a conversation with people and talk about real things, you have to risk offending people. You have to. Other than that, you're going to be so amiable, people will just walk all over you. This isn't about people believing what I say or what you say, Jason or Andy. It's not about believing what we say. We get people on who have things, what they have done, what they've experienced, and in their opinion, this is what it is. We can debate them because we've experienced quite a bit ourselves. We've had a lot of information between the three of us, and we can debate and talk to people. And that's what we want. We want people on who come on, who can talk about what they're doing, not come on and give us sound bites. We've had enough of, you wrote some really nice books, but where's your opinion on all these books? Don't keep giving me other people's opinions and putting them into your book. What's your opinion on them? That isn't journalism. That's not investigative journalism. I had a journalist who said to me, I sent him some of my stuff, don't send me any more of that. I'm not interested in it. You're an investigative journalist, aren't you? Yeah, but that's not my bag. You know what? So investigative journalists have bags now. So, it's amazing to me, the people that we get on. Some people say, well, I've never heard of him. Nobody'd heard of me. I don't care whether anybody's heard of me or not. Look at the information I talk about. Look at the information of the guests that we have had on in the past and the guests that we will have on. These people have actually done things. They've not just read stuff. Some have, but some have read stuff and took it further. And I think that's what this platform's been all about. You yourself, Jason, were saying how much it's taken up 2 years ago. 2 years where everybody said it's going to fall flat on its ass. And now to where you are. People might say, oh, you fuck all, I've never heard of you, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're actually doing something and speaking to people, and people can't unhear things, what they've heard. They can debate them, but you can't come to debate saying, that's a load of shit. Why? Because it is. Well, have you read anything about it? No. It's just a waste of time with people like that. And I think it's refreshing to have a show where you can come on and say, fuck you, you cunt, as long as you've got something to back it up with.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to keep on doing anyway. I think we've really come to the end of this preview show. It's only supposed to be like fucking 15, 20 minutes and half an hour at tops, and we've gone like on to an hour. So we don't have
until tomorrow.
We are half able to talk shit, so we've got Lindsay on tomorrow and on Tuesday. Even if we can't get one of the pedo hunters, because they're really fucking defensive, if we can't get one of them on, then it'll probably just be us talking shit. So, but there's going to be 2 shows this week, Monday and Tuesday. I'd really like to thank everybody for listening. I'd like to thank you for coming along, watching us on Facebook Live, and all the people in the chat room. Shitty Leeds, He's off to the pub, Shitty Leeds at the moment, and John as well. John's in the chat room. So big thank you to you people. Big thank you to Andy Young as well, who's here with me. All right, Andy.
Real pleasure.
Last word for you, mate.
I shan't be here this week, so have a couple of good shows, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Brilliant. And what about you, Webby? Last word for you, mate.
I've got a day off tomorrow, so I'm happy.
Awesome. Well, anyway, listen, we're going to be back tomorrow night from 7:00, and if we don't turn up, it's probably Russia that's done it, so blame them. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks very much to all you people listening. Don't forget to find us on raconteursnews.com and on Raconteurs News on on Facebook as well. Do a search for us, find us, and like our page as well on Raconteurs News on Facebook, and at Raconteurs News on Twitter, and I'm at Beckham Coverup. So we'll see you this week. Take it easy, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra a bit. Bye.